Hey guys, how's it going? A little bit different change of scenery than normal, but I'm actually in my basement about to look at a bunch of trail cameras, or a bunch of trail camera memory cards I just got today. Spent the last like 7.5, 8 hours getting all those. I just got back from Alaska into Kansas last night. Uh, Pretty much just got back, got the house opened up, and been gone for like 5 weeks or something like that. Went to bed, got up, started checking cameras, and now I'm here. I got checked every camera that I had out while I was gone, and I was gonna normally look at them by myself, but I figured there's a really good chance we're gonna have a lot of good bucks. So I figured I'd film, putting the first chip in, probably flip you guys over to this screen, and we'll see what we got. I'm gonna go pretty quick. Once I get the hang of it, it's been a little while since I have looked at cameras, but normally I always view extra large icons. That way I can go through. Okay, so this is the place we call CRP. I didn't have it on the feeder because the lighting is usually kind of weird, and it's actually on a bean field. So I put it on the bean field, not really expecting a whole lot. There's no shooters that I'm expecting to see. So, and there's not that many pictures. There's only 195. So I'm just gonna zip through these real quick. Little buck there. All right. Nothing in that chip. I always format them. Every one of these is 1,000 pictures. When it hits 1,000 pictures, it starts making a new folder. So there's somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 pictures on this card. And there should be a really nice buck on this camera. And now I'm probably not going to save a lot of pictures. Like I said, I've been going for, of course the date's all messed up, but this was out for 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm going to try to save more pictures towards the end because they're still growing a lot through here. But we can just flip through some of these. That's a nice one right there. Younger deer looks like. Again, and like, unless like I actually know the deer, there'll be some that I'll know for sure, like the age and if they're shooters or not. So he looks a little better. I'd say this buck's at least 4 years old. But I'm not going to go through and really look and judge and try to guess the age of every deer right now. Right now, if I know the deer from previous years and I know if he's a shooter or not a shooter, I can tell you guys that. But there'll be a lot of deer I might be on the fence about. I'm not going to try to. That's a really nice up and coming buck right there with his brow down. But I'm not going to try to be like, that is a shooter, that's not a shooter, because they're all subject to change. Once I start to get more and more familiar with the deer and looking at them again and remembering. But we can just sit through some of these pictures. So we call this buck Trident. As you can see from here, he doesn't look very impressive. He actually looks kind of small. As he starts to turn his head, he reveals he's got junk absolutely everywhere. I think I counted if all of his little nubs, his little like half-inch, quarter-inch points grow up to the full inch in his last like month of growing he had. I think he'd make a 22 or 23 pointer or something like that. He just got junk going everywhere. So it's obvious. I mean, I was totally expecting to see him. Hopefully we'll see him towards the end of this memory card. Look at that picture. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bucks. I don't think any of them are shooters. Maybe that one in the back, I can't tell what it is. But just beautiful deer. The bucks this year look really good. This is the camera that is on our food plot project. I'll put the tag somewhere on the screen right now if you guys want to go get caught up on that. We call this El Diablo as a stand name. I don't think I even mentioned that in the video series. They have like 3 or 4 videos on this food plot. And when I went and checked it today, wind or raccoons or something flipped the lid over. And I think a bunch of rain got in this timer feeder and it was about this full. And now it's just a big rotten clump of corn. So maybe that happened early on, and that's why there's not a lot of pictures, or maybe just the deer haven't really found the spot yet. But yeah, I wasn't expecting much here. But if you see this the thing's already off. So who knows what happened. But that's probably why the deer stops hitting it. Plus the grass grew up. Ooh, what's this? Okay. I would say that deer's probably too young, probably a 4-year-old. Just not really being able to look at it too much, but still, it's the first box. That's not bad. All right. This is Gibbs Pond. I'm sure of it. This is the spot where my dad hunted. There's a buck that my dad hunted really hard last year, and well, actually a lot of different people hunted this buck hard, and he was really active, and he was coming in all the time. No one even saw him in person. He was just super, I don't know. We just never there at the right time. He was going back between this place and another spot, and we never even saw him. But we got a ton of pictures of him last year. I've yet to see him this year. This is probably the first real check I'm doing on this camera. That's his name's Pit Boss. He's the buck I'm looking for the most on this camera here. This buck right here, yeah, I'm very confident. This is I'm pretty sure this is the buck we call Tank. If this is Tank, I think he's 8 or 9 years old this year. Been on the property forever. One of our hunters passed, one of our friends, whatever, that was hunting with us last year, actually passed him up on like the second day or something. But besides that, we haven't had a whole lot of encounters with them. He's just one of those deer that's always been around. No one's ever really had a huge interest in trying to shoot him. But I'm pretty sure that's him. He's never been very big. He's always been like 140, maybe 150 class buck, just a 10 point. But always been around. It's just, I mean, yeah, here he is. And of course, this is only the 14th. So these deer do have a good solid 2 or 3 weeks of growing left. I think this is Pit Boss. I'm pretty sure. Buck on the right here. He's not very impressive this year, but I can see he's got some junk on his brow. I keep trying to point at the thing instead of use my mouse, so I'm sorry about that, guys. I'll try better use the mouse so you guys actually know what I'm looking at. Last year he had split brows, so I see he's got these little nubs. He's got the same frames. I'm gonna guess it's him. If it is, I don't know. Maybe it's just a picture, but he doesn't look. I mean, he doesn't look bad, obviously. I mean, I would say he's definitely in the 160s, or he will be. Maybe not. I don't know. I'd probably say 160. But last year we put him at 170. We'll see. This is the 25th. At the most he's got 2 weeks to grow, and probably only a week when this picture's taken. So yeah. So there's Tank and Pit Boss. Over 1,000 pictures on this. Oh, I think this is the gravel pit. Okay, so I think this is the camera. It's actually right next to the camera that we just looked at. Because when was this? Is the date working? 7/19. Yeah, and today is August 10th. So yeah, so that's probably what happened. The camera, who knows? Camera could have ran out of battery, something stupid. It says it's 114 degrees Fahrenheit on the computer right now, on the chip right now. So maybe they got too hot. Sometimes if these cameras get really, really hot, they just stop working. Doubt the batteries have it, maybe. Or maybe the card's full. It might have only been like a 2 gigabyte card. I'll have to look. But when I looked today, all of these sunflowers that are all nice and bright, they were all bent over dead and mature. And a lot of them had already fallen on the ground and were already tore apart. You could see where the deer were like stomping the sunflower heads, and the turkeys were everywhere. It was actually hard for me to find one of these sunflower heads that still had good seeds in them. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, this whole area was all mud and tore up. So the camera definitely just stopped taking pictures for who knows what reason. All right, this is Back Door. Ooh, okay. Little bachelor group of bucks just showed up. Let's see what we got here. Okay, it looks like 3 beautiful bucks. None of them look like monsters, but just a great picture. That one's kind of cool with that brow. All 10s, it looks like, at least. Maybe a 9 in there. Love velvet summertime pictures. You can see all the sunflowers and soybeans and cowpeas and stuff. Very little weeds. Pretty much everything you see was planted. That's a nice buck. I'll have to look back and see if I know him from last year. I like how his brows almost touch. They both curve in like that. That's super cool. So what I'm going to do... That's actually not a bad buck either, really. Probably not for every deer, I don't know. But for like this would be a good example. We'll name him... We'll have number 1 on him. Put the picture up and make a little 1. I'm gonna do that with all the deer. On the deer I want named, I'm gonna put a picture and a number by them. If you have a name suggestion, go down in the comments below. Put the number and then what you want to name them, and you can just try to do one name. If you have multiple names for them, just make multiple comments or multiple deer. So say there's at the end of this there's 6 deer, 4 deer, 8 deer, whatever I want named. Put the number, 1 name, and then put the comment out. And then if there's multiple names for the same deer, just keep doing with the same number. If there's multiple deer you want names for, and what we'll do is make sure you like your own comment, because is give it a couple weeks, and then whatever comment has the most likes for each deer, that's what we'll name it. So it can really be anything as long as people want to like the comment, whatever. So yeah, I like this buck. Looks like a name frame 10. He's got a little knob there. Probably won't become a point. Looks like that will probably be scoreable this year. But his brows kind of curve in. They almost touch. He's got a point off his base right there. Pretty standard. I don't know how old he is. I haven't got a good body picture yet. I'm guessing probably 4. I don't think he'll be a shoot this year, but he might. It's hard to say. Same thing with this buck. We won't name this one. This one's just pretty standard. He's just like we have a ton of bucks that look just like this. So I'm not in any rush to name this one or not. Here's another picture of that one. So this is the one I want named. Probably something to do with his brow tines, but he's got a bunch of little junk. But that one's definitely scoreable. And I'm not sure what that point is. Maybe an inside the beam point or something like that. But cool buck for sure. Like I said, I don't think he's a shooter, but I'm not going to make that determination yet. Holy cow. Alright, so this one has at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 pictures. As long as some weeds didn't get in the camera, you can pretty much expect there to be a, okay, so this is what we call ER. One of my all-time favorite spots. We got a buck on film getting shot here. Shout out to Travis. He'll be coming back this year. He shot his buck here. If you want to see the video, it's on our highlight video. It's kind of in the middle of it. It's the one he shoots and it drops right in his tracks. Love this spot. Absolutely love this spot. I think who's this? Okay, so this buck, I'm almost positive is Peaches. Yeah, so that buck was Peaches. Had hit pictures of him all last year. I think I put him at 4 last year. He wasn't on the hit list. If he was 5, he just wasn't really as big as I would have wanted him to be, so we let him go regardless of his age. But this year, he's definitely mature. He's definitely on the hit list. I'll hopefully get a better picture of him. He's one of the bucks that I actually got a picture of before I left. Here. Ooh, what's this buck? I think this was one of those 10 points. Looks like he's got a pretty good belly, a little bit of a brisket sway in the back. He could be old enough, but like I said, and there's so many. There's probably 3 or 4 10 points that look super similar to that. So, okay. Oh, this buck right here. Okay, that's awesome. All right, so this is Lucky. If you watched our shed hunt video, which is actually the most popular video on our channel, if you skip towards the middle of that, this is a buck that we have so much history with. So, this was him. Was this him last year? Yes, this was him last year. Big brow, clean 8 is best way to distinguish him. I think he's. Last year we determined that he was not 5, 4 at the oldest, but I think towards the end of the year I even put him at 3. I'll give you a quick backstory on him. I'll flip back to this camera so you guys can look at him this year. I haven't even got a good look at him this year, but I instantly knew just by the rack that it was him. So that's super cool. Hopefully you get more pictures of him. Yep, there he is right there. We call him Lucky because when he was 2 years old, he got shot by an arrow. If you look at my shed hunt video, I put the trail camera picture up. And we know the people who shot him. There's the people who we took over the lease, but they had a lease for 1 year. And they weren't seeing any deer. They came and hunted for like a week. And they thought that we were a big outfitter that were shooting all the deer, which isn't even correct. We're not even an outfitter. We just have a lot of land and few hunters. And we do so much work on our food plots and feeders. And they just dropped a couple 100 pounds of corn on the ground and figured they'd shoot a big buck. Well, Lucky was the only deer they were seeing. And funny thing is, like, even this stand was only like a half a mile from them, and we had like 4 shooters that year. They just weren't coming to their spot. So the last day, the guy decided, screw it, I'm not going to hunt here again, probably. Looks like a little bigger buck. I'm not going to hunt here again. This is Lucky right here. I'm going to shoot this young deer just to shoot something. Well, he shoots him, he's walking away, basically like this, and shoots him right here, goes in, comes out of his body, goes back in right by his shoulder, and then pops out, and the arrow stuck in him, and it went in and out of him like twice, just basically threaded him through the skin. And then that's how we met the guys, because they came and told us that they wounded a deer, and blah, blah, blah. And after finding out what deer it was, I had to yell at them, like, why were you shooting that deer? And they're like, oh, we thought you guys were shooting all our deer, and there wasn't any deer around, which I showed them a bunch of pictures, and they just couldn't have been more wrong. We just have so much, wow, he's a big deer this year. He looks nice. I'm really going to have to break him down and see if he's 4 or 5 this year. But I think he's only 4. I'm going to go with my gut. But so then that, and then the same year there was him and another big 8 that was a shooter. And I told my mom a million times, do not shoot this buck. Do not shoot this buck. You would think she would know what a 2-year-old deer looks like by the body, but whatever. Anyway, well, she was hunting by herself one day, and the Lucky came in, and she thought it was the big 8, and it was at the feed. It was only 20 yards away. She had her muzzleloader. She pulled the hammer back and was about to shoot. And at the last second, for whatever reason, she decided that maybe this isn't the buck or whatever. And so she didn't shoot it. And that's why we call him Lucky, because he survived. He survived almost getting shot by my mom and actually getting shot the same year. And he's been fine. He's never. I mean, the arrow fell out. This is Peaches. This is a shooter. The arrow came out within a couple days, and you had a full recovery, and you couldn't even tell now. But that's awesome. And then last year he looked. Last year he wasn't huge, but he looked pretty impressive. And he was the one deer I told everybody that came 100 times, do not shoot this deer, and no one did. We did see him. A lot of people saw him and stuff, passed him up. I got some footage of him, but it was super, super dark, and I'm not even gonna show it because it's kind of junky. But I only saw him that one time. I didn't hunt here very often though with the camera. So that's awesome. I love that buck. He needs one more year. If he can make it past this year, next year I think he's going to be. I mean, he's the buck. He's a clean, perfect 8. And if he stays like that, you know, we don't get a lot of perfect 8s, especially with those brow tines. I mean, he could be a 165 class 8 next year. I'd probably put him at 150 this year as an 8, 155. So here's a good picture of Peaches. Awesome buck. Awesome buck. Love to get that on film. Someone shooting that buck this year. All right, moving on. It's got my heart pumping. Lucky again. That's a big 8, and that's a beautiful, beautiful buck. Is this him or is this another deer? Yeah, look at him coming in. I mean, that's he's giving me a hard deer for people to pass up. Right now, but he just doesn't look like a 5-year-old like, at all. Like, to me, he almost looks like a 3-year-old there, and maybe he is older because he's always looked super young, so maybe just a young-looking buck, and maybe he's 6 or 7, and I'm just messing everybody up. Nothing about that, to me, says 5. It barely even says 4. You know, straight back, not a big belly at all, not a big shoulder, not a big brisket, no Roman nose, no long legs. I mean, nothing about that deer to me says 5. So I gotta, unless something drastically changes in his body features, I really gotta stick with my gut and saying he's only 4. We could, you know what? Screw it. Okay, we'll name this deer too. So my vote's on Handy. If someone comments that, you'll get my like, just because that looks like a thumb. But he's a young deer. He's not a shooter by any means. But I don't know. That's a big enough characteristic that he'll probably carry that through his life in some form. So I should be able to recognize him year after year. Call this place Terry's, or for the people watching this who know all these spots, this is Terry's. This is the buck I got pictures of before I left. I thought it was kind of interesting. A lot of junk around the bases. We'll throw this deer up as like whatever. We'll try and name this deer. He's a mainframe 10. He had like 6 or 7 points that could become points. Like that's one right there. That's one. That's one. I think there's one like right here or something, and maybe there. I remember getting I got a really good basis picture of him before I left, and he just seemed like he had a lot of stuff going on. He's not like a huge buck by any means, but he's not bad. This is kind of cool. Here's another picture. Looks like a younger 8, but when I first started this a few minutes ago, but we're like 3,000 pictures in almost. He didn't have this G4, and I don't even think he had this nub. If he did, it was just barely any little bump. So it's just kind of cool as you watch the clips how like points develop and stuff, everything grows. The other Reconics camera, 4,500 pictures, awesome. Oh, that's a cool looking buck. Something finally decent to look at. I think I recognize this buck from last year, but I don't think I have a name for him. So we'll do this another one. This one looks like, I'd say he's at least a 4-year-old. I'm not going to say he's a shooter yet. Oh, this actually might be a buck we call pencils. But either way, I don't think it is. So I think it's a different buck. Either way, we'll definitely put him up for the name. Looks like he's just a mainframe 10, small G4s. Real small G4s, but nice frame. Real boxy frame. Who is this? There's some actually bucks here too. Huh. That's not the Trident buck. Well, that's weird. I mean, look at that. Looks like this point comes way out from like a brow tine. And then he's got this point, split G2. It's almost, oh, I'm sorry, the next thing. But the G3 and G4 over there are real webbed. That's a very unique deer. Here's that funky deer again. That's just a real spindly 8, it looks like, huh? But yeah, so it looks like, so this is his brow, and this is like an extra brow, or you could even say this is a brow, and this is an extra point. And this point comes right out of his main beam. It also looks like he's got a little split off his G2, and then here he's just got a lot of mass. Like I said, I don't think he's an old buck. There he is again. But super cool. So we can name him again. Yeah, all right, here's a good picture. So, but there should still be an inside point somewhere where you can't. I don't know. That's weird. Big brows, big normal brows, not to mention all the extra stuff. All right, so there's a good picture of him. What an awesome genetic buck for especially being probably just like a 2 or 3 year old. All right, let's see what we got here. This one's got 2,600 pictures or so. All right, so this is the place we call Sutherland's. This is actually right next to the one that we just saw. I've been buzzing by through, but this really wide deer interests me. He looks like he's older. I'd say he's at least 4. He might even be 5. I want to say I recognize this deer from last year, but he doesn't. I don't think he's going to score anything. Small G4, small brows, but he's just kind of a cool deer. And then this is another nice buck. Just going off of what I see there, I'm definitely not a shooter, I wouldn't say, but like a 4-year-old. Just cool deer. $1,500. All right, let's see where we are right now. 400. Okay, so this is a spot that doesn't usually do good till later in the season. I think the cows got in here from looking at today because the camera was knocked over and I can see cow shit. So hopefully we got some pictures before the cows came in and the cows knocked it over. Awesome. With that many cows, I'm surprised the bean field still looked as good as it did. Oh my God! It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,400. This is deer fields. I could tell you without even looking, just because of how many pictures we got and what we have left for cameras. This is always been one of our best spots, especially summertime. So hopefully, I can almost promise you, there's gonna be a ton of daylight pictures, and hopefully they're just of the right deer. What do we got here? What do we got there? Still got, okay. All right, so this buck, I'm hoping to get some better pictures of him. This is a buck. He's a mature. He's definitely a shooter. We're going to need a name for him. I'll try to find better pictures of him. I have a shed. I'll dig this shed out in a second of him last year. But as you can tell, every one of these pictures, I think, have been a picture of a deer, and there's 5,400 of them to go. So there will be no shortage of pictures, of deer pictures. So I think this is so here's the 11 pointer. Well, you guys are looking at that. Like I said, I'm pretty sure he's a lot bigger than you think. I'm going to find the shed. I'll give you guys a second to think about it. And then I'll flip you over to the big camera. So this is him last year. I mean, I'm not even holding it out very much. He's really impressive. I scored this side, and then I used what this guy scored in the measurements to guess what the other side scored, which the other side of the split brow and the G4, and I came up with 151. So I'm sure I was within an inch of him. So like I said, that was a smaller side. Beautiful buck. I imagine he'll be bigger this year. Like I said, I just think the camera doesn't do him justice. I mean, he also had a month of growing left, so hopefully there's a good picture. It's a pretty good representation right there. So let me know what you think. This side's just a 4-point side. This side's a 5 points, a G4 with the brow, so I actually got 6 points on that side. I get to see a picture without a deer in it. Like, look at this. Like, I think this is the 8 point with the kicker off the G2. That's a shooter. Then we got this young buck. Look at this non-typical mess that's going on. Who knows what's going on with that young deer? Here's another beautiful buck, probably a 4-year-old, and then another young buck here. It's a bunch of not shooters, but that's just an awesome picture. And there's just so many of those. Like, it's just crazy. The deer in this spot. And then usually as the season goes on, this spot usually actually tends to get a little worse, just because they start to spread out more. But I don't even know what deer that is. I don't know. So cool. So cool. So here's the second one of this group. Not number 2, if we're going off the number system, but the second one of this food plot. This is a great picture of him right there. Just awesome buck. Awesome buck. Love him. Today, but here's that 10 point, which oh, look at that. Oh, so he was a 9 with the split brow and the G4, but just already he now has a G4 there, which will make him an 11, and I see a split off the G3 there. So just in a couple thousand pictures that we've looked at, he's already gained a bunch of junk, and he still has 15 to 20 days left of growing. Here's that other buck the third buck on this feeder that I want named. That's kind of weird. Maybe you could think of something like this. He's shedding his coat. That's actually weird. That's like no fur. That's a little odd, actually. I don't know if I should be concerned about that or not. But you just stay right here in the middle. That's the deer that I don't even know what this deer is. This giant inside point. Just another. It's gonna be a great year, guys, and like especially once some of the here's that one again. He's getting big. I'm gonna say he's at least a 4-year-old, maybe even older now. I don't know. The deer are growing fast this month. July is a crazy month for deer growth. What was that? 470. Sorry if this is a long video, guys. I don't blame you guys if you guys aren't watching all of this, but if you are, make sure to leave a like. I don't know how long I'm gonna make it. It's got to be at least 20 minutes long at this point. I mean, I've been filming for almost 2 hours, so leave this video a like. I mean, I'm gonna put a lot of work into editing this, and I am showing you guys literally all of my deer. A lot of people won't do that, so I'm not hiding anything from you guys. There's not a 200-inch buck that I got pictures of and I didn't show you guys. I got every big deer, interesting deer. I'm gonna be open with you guys all season. All right, next one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,400. These are killing me. These are really adding up. This is a lot of pictures to look through, guys. Oh. All right, this is the 80. This is our first piece we actually personally, it wasn't the first piece we hunted, it was the first piece that we actually bought, not leased. We've shot probably more deer on this little 80 acres than anywhere else. It's always awesome. Actually, last year was the first year we never shot a deer off of. This one was actually on the ground. I'm not even going to look at those blurry pictures, but this one I walked up to today was on the ground, so I don't know if it happened the first couple days or the last couple days. I don't know what knocked it off, but here's a nice buck. I don't know what quite he is. If you guys are still into this whole naming deer thing, go ahead and name this one too if you want. It looks like it's an 8. This will probably become a point because this was taken July 7th, so he has a whole month of growing. So he'll probably get quite a bit bigger. I'm not sure if he's a shooter or not. But here's that one from the beginning. Just periodically checking in on him, seeing how he looks. Looks like he's gonna be a real nice 8. I might recognize him from last year. If it's the buck I'm thinking of, I think he's only a 4-year-old, which looks about right from here. So he'll need one more year anyway, but it's definitely he's just a beautiful buck. All right, so this is a place called Catfish. I forgot about this field, so maybe I don't even know anymore. So there's 1, 2, 3,300. About that. I'll have the grand total. I won't even add them up. I'll have them all add up on the video. You'll see how many pictures that we looked through today. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for sticking along if you made it this far. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. Last time I did the whole name this deer thing in the shed hunt video, it worked out good, and we named the buck COVID. And we didn't see that buck today. Anyway, I could probably show you guys. Oh, if I want to add it, we're right here. I'll go through all the pictures here's some of the pictures. I'll do a little recap of everything we did. I think this was one of the bucks I had you name, but it was later in the video. So this is Trident. He's probably the biggest score-wise deer that we had today. He's the buck. I think he's got like 22 points or something like that. But it'll just kind of depend on what he ends up with. I'll look a little bit harder. Here he is again, a little bit later in the year. Just super cool buck, super unique buck. This is the big. I guess I thought he's like, I don't know. This is another deer. We named this one that I have the sheds of, which I'm holding right now. If you look in the little corner of the screen. He wasn't 9. He was a 10 last year. And this year he was at least a 12. Peaches. We don't need to name him. I already got him. Love this buck. Just an awesome deer. I think he's gonna be super cool if we see him this year. This is Lucky, the big no shooter. This is that one I was just talking about with the split brow. Awesome deer. This is Lucky again, our big no shooter. These pictures are definitely all over. Here he is again. I got so many pictures of Lucky looking just like this years in past, like that same pose, same feeders, and everything. Peaches, Lucky. This is another one that I wanted you guys to name. It was in a different location though, but he's like that kind of that funky town with a bunch of junk. Lucky, Lucky. This is another one I wanted you guys to name with like I think he looks like a hand, young buck, and then Peaches in the background there. He's just probably a 4-year-old 10. Don't worry about him. Special. Just want to save this into the guys. This is Tank. Don't worry about him. He's old. I think he's like I said. He's at least 8. Could be 9 years old. He's old. He's probably the oldest deer that I know about on the property. What do we got going on here? Oh, this is at $4. No, this one right here is the shooter, and then this one is pretty cool. Then this one's just a bunch of nice bucks. I love that, all that junk going on there. But anyway, it's a great picture of a bunch of bucks. There's some of them again. This is a shooter we need named. I might put the numbers on all these when I'm going through back if I even put this in the video. But here's that one buck I've been talking about. He has a split brow. Last year he was a 9. This side was just a 4.7. He grew that, and he grew that kicker there. So and it looks like he might have even grew a point there. Hard to say. But he went from being a 10 to at least a 12 pointer. Another one I'd like you guys to name. I think he's a 9. Real heavy. I think he's a 4-year-old. No, that was a cool picture of the sunset. This is another one of the definite shears I want named. 8, but just a big split. So he's a 9, I guess. Main frame 8. There he is again. Great pictures. I don't think anything cool there. Lucky. I believe this is Pit Boss right here, which I don't know when this was taken. Taken the 25th, so he didn't have much. Maybe 10 days left to grow, and so I don't think he didn't do his, unless the pictures aren't doing him justice. He didn't grow as much as I would have liked, but that's Tank and him. It looks like Tank might even get a little bit of a little drop time going there. That's kind of cool. But here's 3 beautiful bucks. Oh yeah, this one right here is another one I wanted you guys to name with right here with the brow tines that curl in and touch. I forgot all about that buck. That's cool. Right here he is again. Just a couple. Just a nice picture of a couple bucks. Another nice picture of a couple bucks. Nothing special. Nothing special. Oh yes, this is special. So this buck. I don't know I'd like you guys to name. It's such a pretty picture. That's just like that picture could be like not the biggest buck in the world, but that could be in the freaking commercial somewhere or something for Reconics, whatever. This buck. Super crazy with the big inside point and the kicker over there, or not even a kicker, just a webbed point. There he is again, and there he is again, and there he is again, and then spindle 8, and there he is one last time. Super cool deer. Love the deer with the inside points on the beam. And that's it. So, thanks for watching, guys. No idea how long this video is. Sorry if it's super long or whatever. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Got some other video. After this will be a bunch of food plot videos. Then I'm going back up to Alaska to do probably a little more silver fishing, bunch of duck hunting hopefully, and maybe even a little bit of moose hunting depending on if a buddy gets off work soon. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I will catch you on the next video.